You thought choosing a bias in ATEEZ was just about who made your heart flutter the fastest or the biggest, but wrong, bitch. Your ATEEZ bias isn't just your fave. It's a cosmic mirror, a Jungian archetype. It's the romantic trauma you never resolved in the therapist you keep ghosting. This is your last warning because once we start, there's no going back. If you bias Hong Joong, you're either a creative genius or you have a deep god complex masked by humble vibes. You saw his tiny frame, massive ambition, and paint-stained hands and said, yep, that's the man who'll understand the opera inside of my brain. You collect notebooks you never finish. Your room is probably cluttered with chaos and candlelight. You want someone who can build a nation with you by day and fall apart in your arms at 3 a.m. But you're not going to be sleeping, by the way. You're not okay, but you are a visionary. What's behind all this, babe? You're looking for someone to match your freak without burning the house down. But let's be honest, you'd probably still light a match. If your bias is Seonghwa, the Seonghwa bias, the one who whispers to their childhood wound, I will keep you safe. You saw the porcelain face, the gentleman gestures, that long-ass tongue, the emotional depth in his eyes, and said, that is the man who will read my silence like poetry. You're touch-starved, okay? And crave gentle domesticity. You want love that looks like folded laundry and forehead kisses. But here's the twist, ho. You also have a slight god complex and low-key believe you deserve a celestial being. But what's all below this? You're the type to cry to sad ballads while organizing your bookshelf by color. If your bias is, you want joy, you want a golden retriever boyfriend. You saw his 6-foot frame and said, that's my tree. I shall climb it. You love a man who can twirl you, feed you, and laugh so hard he wheezes like a cartoon character. Bonus, he chooses drinks. You either have major main character energy or are trying desperately to escape your inner villain arc. Yuno feels like the promise of healing, the one who will actually text back and bring you snacks. But there's gotta be more to this. Okay, you've been through some things. You're choosing joy this time. You want soft hands and safe spaces, and maybe a little cosplay. Let's be honest, you're probably a freak. If your bias is Yeosang, mysterious, elegant, slightly judgmental, that's your type. Yeosang biasers are observant introverts with big energy behind the scenes. You claim you're over the whole bad boy thing, but deep down, you're just waiting for him to take off the glasses and ruin your life. You're drawn to people who say very little but know very much. You also probably have a niche internet hobby, high standards, and a playlist called Slow Destruction. But there's gotta be more to Yeosang biasers. Okay. You want the softest I love you from someone who usually doesn't speak. You crave intimacy without the chaos. And maybe someone who can cook. If your bias is San, you saw that man move and said, yes, that's the apocalypse I want to die in. Plus the eye contact, ooh, it creates like snail juices. If you don't know what that is, you haven't been on the channel long enough. San biasers live for intensity. You don't want mild affection. You want full-on eye contact and emotional devastation. You want your lover to scream your name into the abyss and sob into your sweater. You're romantic, dramatic, low-key terrifying, high-key sensitive. But there's gotta be more. You crave all-consuming love. You want someone who sees your madness and says, beautiful, let's dance. Also, you cry at Disney movies and overthink goodnight texts. I just totally threw you under the bus. I exposed you. If you bias Mingi, you are fun, slightly feral, and allergic to being bored. You saw Mingi do literally anything and said, I would follow this man to the underworld or under some covers. You love unpredictability, deep conversations at 2 a.m., and the fact that he's both the life of the party and the philosopher in the corner. You want laughter, vulnerability, and just the right amount of emotional damage to keep things spicy. But what are you hiding? Oh, you are complicated and charming. And you're secretly the main character in a Netflix original romance about healing through dance and chaos. If your bias is Wooyoung, you like your men loud, flirty, and just on the edge of breaking your sanity. You're either a menace or trying to date one to distract yourself. from your own emotional recklessness. You saw Wooyoung do that hip move and said, my standards are now illegal. But you also saw the tenderness beneath the bravado and whispered, I could fix him or let him ruin me. Either way, I win. But you're not like one-dimensional or anything like that. So let me just guess what's under all of this. You want someone who teases the hell out of you, but also keeps a photo of you in his wallet, like it's sacred. Your love language is banter, and your playlist is 80% spicy, 20% tragic. If your bias is Jongho, you are not here to play, baby. You are not. You saw this man tear apples apart with his bare hands and said, yes, I want the softest rock in the quarry. You love power wrapped in sincerity. You value loyalty, honesty, and a strong arm to pull you in during emotional tsunamis. Jongho biasers are emotionally intelligent, often misunderstood, and possess the kind of humor that only gets funnier the longer someone knows you. But what does all of this mean? You want a protector, a singer, a stoic soulmate who blushes when you wink at him. You're the type to fall in love with someone who brings you soup when you're sick and hums ballads while doing the dishes. So, what does your ATEEZ bias say about you? Everything. Too much. Maybe things you weren't ready to admit until now. But hey, we're all emotionally unstable together here on this channel. So bias who you want, love recklessly, cry over fan cams, and remember, ATEEZ didn't just steal your heart. They hacked your psychological blueprint. So down below, drop who your bias is. I'm so curious to see if my guesses were right. When it came to Seonghwa, I feel that I was very spot on, but also I'm very close to double biasing with Yunho, so that is also spot on as well. But I have not officially double biased, so don't say nothing about that in the comments down below. If you want to spend more time with me, you can always join the Patreon and or the Discord linked down below. I go live every single Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Oh, there is a playlist up above. Check out that video. I think you're gonna like it.